Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. You have to wonder what it is about government ministers who work in the Treasury who happen to be called Reynolds. There's always something wrong with them. You've got Jonathan Reynolds, the liar, the man who pretended to be a solicitor, even though he wasn't. Still waiting to hear if he's going to get prosecuted for that one. But then you got his little friend, and I don't believe related, chum, Emma Reynolds. Now, she was doing the rounds and talking about prisoner releases. And you couldn't have got it any wronger if you tried. It's obvious that this is a woman who hasn't got a clue what's going on. So you wonder why they wheel her out as the bad news monkey of the day. But there she was. She was being questioned about what sort of prisoners were being released. And she was asked if domestic abusers or sexual offenders will be exempt from the changes to the rules, which only recall licence breaching offenders for 28 days. Or will they be the people who are not released into custody in the first place? That sort of thing. Wanting to know what's going on. And she said, no, it won't apply to sexual offenders and domestic abusers. It won't apply to the most dangerous criminals, she said. Meaning that her understanding is that those sort of people won't be the ones released. It sounds great. One tiny little problem, though, is that it's absolutely incorrect. She had to be told, in fact, by the interviewer that was wrong. Only terrorists are the ones that are banned from being released. Did you know that? That's the only group of people who are not allowed to be released early. Well done, Labour. What kind of monsters are you going to release? Who knows? So Reynolds then, so that you can see the panic on her face. Oh my God, I really fucked up. And so she had to do a reverse ferret. And then she said, and this is where it gets interesting, she said, well, look, we need to ensure that we have a prison system that works. We're not going to endanger victims. Well, when you're releasing murderers, you are. And when you're releasing a man who has previously been a very violent criminal, who on the day of his release goes out and commits murder, yes, you are endangering people, aren't you? She said, this is a reform that Conservatives brought in. Yes, but the Conservative reform on this was that they only released non-violent criminals. Labour are releasing everybody. She said, we're simply extending it. We don't want to be in this position, but we need to do something to ensure we have the prison places for criminals. Hang on a minute. I've got a great idea. If you want to create prison places for criminals, stop locking up people for saying things on YouTube or on Facebook or any social media. Stop locking up people for no reason whatsoever and send all the foreign criminals back to whatever country they came from. And then you got lots of spaces, you daft, stupid bint. Honestly, where do they get these people? They are obviously, there's a school, isn't there? Join the Labour Party, you go off and do school. Labour's stupid school. It's where they take out the last vestiges of your mind and pop in a sea urchin or something. Who knows? Something that wobbles around inside the cranium and stops it, filling up with luscious goo or something. I don't know. Absolutely crap, isn't it? But when even the government ministers can't understand the lunacy of leniency, it goes to show how screwed this country is. Well done. Another Reynolds who just doesn't get it. Thanks a lot.